Hey everybody, and welcome to NWR TV, where we are going to take a quick deep dive into the little bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that we saw today. Forgive me if I ramble and don't make a lot of sense. It is currently about 5:30 in the morning, and we are still sorting through all of the awesome new Switch stuff that we got earlier this evening, or yesterday night, before this morning, I don't know. It's all a blur. Anyway, it's just a little bit of Xenoblade footage that we got today, but you guys all know how much I love Xenoblade. If you've watched my stuff, any of my open world videos, you know that I love Xenoblade and hold it in very high regards. So this was an awesome surprise and pretty cool to see. Obviously, the first thing we'll notice is that the art style is very different. This is much more of a cartoony look. Characters are proportioned in a much less realistic way. Granted, it's not like X or the original Xenoblade had extremely realistic characters, but these characters are definitely more of a typical anime style. Honestly, I think their faces look a whole lot better. That was kind of one of the issues with Xenoblade X, is that they looked kind of weird. They looked a lot like they did in the original Xenoblade, but you could get away with it in that one because it was an SD game, and, you know, obviously a lot more effort was put into making the world look good than making the characters look good. So we see a pretty big graphical overhaul. But right away, we see it's unmistakably a Xenoblade game. We have this large open area, and as we come around here, we see an area there that sort of has like a Colony 9 vibe to it. That's something important to note before we get too much farther into this. This game is at least tentatively called, and I assume permanently called, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, implying that it is a direct sequel to the original Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, to be fair, a lot of Japanese RPGs, even when they have numbered sequels, that doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually related from a story perspective, or even take place in the same universe. It just means that they are related in theme. So it's possible that this one could be no more related to the original Xenoblade than Xenoblade X was. But the fact that they did decide to call it just straight up Xenoblade Chronicles 2 makes me think that this game will have more in keeping with the original Xenoblade than Xenoblade X. So I would assume probably more story-driven, and less, like Xenoblade X was a game about exploration, which was awesome, but much less of a story-driven game than the original Xenoblade. Anyway, so yeah, we have this town, looks kind of Colony 9-ish, that sort of vibe to it, definitely. And then over here, I can't tell if that's a mountain that's part of the landscape that we are on, or something far away that's separated from this landscape, but obviously it's alive. It appears to have horns. It looks like some sort of weird demon, but it definitely has the same vibe as the Bionis or Mechanis from the original Xenoblade. So we could be sort of in a similar realm. Oh, and I should say, if you're worried about spoilers, for either the original Xenoblade or Xenoblade X, but probably more the original Xenoblade, I don't know if I would watch me talk about this, because I will probably mention the original Xenoblade, like I'm going to do right now. At the end of the original Xenoblade, spoilers, you essentially recreate the world. The Bionis and the Mechanis are no more, and the world essentially turns into a flat island, as opposed to being on the top of this giant thing. It's more becomes a more traditional continent. So the way these places are laid out in this trailer doesn't look like Xenoblade, like the world of Xenoblade looks at the end of Xenoblade. So obviously not like a direct continuation. But yeah, so here we have what appears to be our main character, light up sword. You know, nothing too incredible there. Here we have a character, doesn't look like our main character necessarily, though if they go with the Xenoblade X idea, then perhaps you'll be able to make your own character, so who knows. Riding a giant cat polar bear? I don't know what that is, but some sort of mount. So far, no skells, giant robots in this one, so maybe riding animals will be your way to get across the world faster. Here we have what appears to be like an airship town. Down in these little cages, you can see these sort of boats that are also sky whales. They look like it's late, I'm not going to be able to think of his name. Levias, the giant whale god thing from Skyward Sword. That's what they look like. And they appear to be being used as transports for this giant sky town. And in the background there we see a giant tree, which is something we've been seeing in the background of a lot of these shots. We have another character. Her armor looks much more like armor from Xenoblade X. But once again, facial design, totally different, and I honestly really like it. Music, I believe that's much of the same music team as Xenoblade X. I could be wrong, but I believe that's true. Here we have what appears to be our main character again. Looks like a kind of old scuba suit. It seems to be the theme of his armor, which is interesting. But maybe they're some sort of like sky pirates, and they wear some sort of like scuba gear in the sky. I don't know. And then we have a Napon in the background there. So tying into all the other Xenoblade games, the one consistent thing is that they all have Napon. That's the deal. All right. So moving through sort of an industrial area. Lots of other people down there in the background. Some sort of little creature down there in the bottom right. Doesn't appear to be a Napon, or it almost looks like one of the little bird warriors that you meet in the Gower Plains at the beginning of the original Xenoblade. I can't think of what they're called. I will find a picture of them and put it with this clip so that you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's kind of what it looks like down there. It's hard to tell, though. Once again, it almost looks, I can't tell, I don't think they're pre-rendered or anything, but the cinematics have a very, well, cinematic-y look to them. And what now? Oh yes, so now we are treated to our very long ending wide shot. Once again, that tree in the background, this moment of the sword in the big green field right there. A clear homage to the title screen slash cover of the original Xenoblade with the Minato. And then we're greeted with this giant sky whale thing. Which, if you've watched my Let's Plays, you know that I have a horrible fear of whales, especially flying whales. So this game will be a horror game to me, and that's always pleasant. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So we'll have to see how much actual relation it has to Xenoblade. But needless to say, this was an awesome surprise. I'm very excited to play this. I have yet to find a Xenoblade game I don't absolutely love, so I'm sure this one will be the same. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to NWR TV because we do tons of this stuff all the time. If you really enjoyed this video, you can check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/NWR. And you can also check out NintendoWorldReport.com for even more coverage. There are a few other Switch deep dives that should be already on the YouTube channel, assuming I don't fall asleep before everything gets taken care of. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for putting up with a solo deep dive from a very tired John, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.